Hey, would you like to have some really punchy drums that cut through the mix? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to share with you some really cool things you can do to help your drums stand out. In fact, I'm going to show you how you can get really punchy drums in just seconds. Hey, I'm Reagan Ram with OrpheusAudioAcademy.com, helping you make better music and grow your fan base online. So, first off, before we dive into the DAW and actually work on creating these punchy drums, what makes your drums punchy in the first place? Well, one of the best strategies that's been used for a very long time for creating punchy drums is what is called parallel compression. It's also known as New York style compression. So what you do is you take a copy of your drum track, whether that's your whole track or just a portion like your kick or your snare, and you take a copy of your drums and you heavily compress and squash that copy, and then you blend together the uncompressed version of your drums along with the compressed version. So you create this blended mix that is very pleasing to the ear and really helps it punch through the mix. So I'm going to dive into Logic now and show you how you can set up parallel compression on your bus a couple different ways. All right, so here we are in Logic working on one of my tracks, and I'm just going to play with you a portion of it here so you can see what the drums sound like as is with no processing. So that is what it sounds like. Not too bad, but obviously there is some punch lacking. So I'm going to show you how you can set up parallel compression the typical way, the way it's been done, which is using a send to send a copy of the drums to an auxiliary channel track where you then compress it like crazy. And then I'm going to show you some really simple ways you can do this too. In fact, ways you can get the same effect in just seconds. So stick around for that. All right, so here we are. Here's our drum track here, and we want to then send this to a bus. So just choose any bus that's currently not being used. So I'll just pick 15 here. And now immediately Logic shows you the actual auxiliary track here. All right, now it's called auxiliary 14. We'll just call this parallel drums. And then we're gonna go ahead and throw a compressor on it. So you could just use Logic's standard compressor here. And then we want to really compress this like crazy. So we're going to really pull down the compressed signal, or really pull down the threshold, really increase the ratio. And then we're also going to make it a really fast attack and a pretty fast release as well. All right, so now once that is set up, we want to make sure that 100% of this signal is being sent to the compressed signal, and then we'll actually control the fader here for how much of the compressed signal we want sent. So we can just do Option click to put that at 0, so we know it's going 100% to sending a 100% copy to the auxiliary parallel drum track here. And now we will give that a listen. So as you can see, that is pretty intense, pretty extreme. We're getting some clipping as well, but let's just solo the drums so you can kind of hear what it sounds like with and without. So this is without any parallel compression. And now we're going to slowly bring it in. You can hear it's getting really intense there. So now we're just gonna blend it. We're just gonna listen to the song and we're gonna blend it in until we hear enough punch. So I think about right there sounds pretty good. So let's hear what it sounds like with and without now. So you can hear that is really coming through now. It's really punching through really nicely. Now I'm going to show you a couple other ways we can use parallel compression in here. And by the way, you don't just have to use it on drums. You can use it on anything. But that will be a future video. So you can actually do this without using a bus if you don't want to. So the advantage to using a bus is we can actually layer more plugins here if we wanted to. For example, we could add in an EQ if we wanted on top of this, and we could also increase the bass and also the treble here, and that will also just help the drums punch out a little more if we wanted to. But if you don't plan on doing that, you can just turn off the send. We don't have to use the send. And instead, we'll just drop a compressor again right on top of here in Logic, and or any compressor you have that has a mix knob, because this is what we're doing. We're blending two signals, and so that's what this mix knob is going to allow us to do. So again, we're going to pull down threshold, increase the ratio, pull down the attack, pull down the ratio, or the release, I'm sorry. And then we can just blend these two signals now. So 100% means we're hearing only the compressed signal. 0 means we're not hearing anything. We're just hearing the dry signal. So now we can kind of create the blend here with this knob. So let's give it a listen. You can hear now we're getting a lot more punch from the drum, so that is great. So that is just the default Logic compressor. I'm going to go ahead and leave that in here. I'm going to turn it off though. And then I'm going to show you a really cool plugin that I like called iHeartNY by Baby Audio. This is just a parallel compression plugin, and it lets you get parallel compression really quickly and easily. And so it's called iHeartNY because, again, parallel compression is also known as New York style compression. So there's just two or really three basic features here. So there is what's called spank, which is the compression, and then we have output. So as you are turning up the parallel compression, you might want to turn down the output just to avoid clipping. So yeah, how much you want to compress it, and then how much of the parallel signal will actually be in the mix. And then of course you can do solo that, so you can hear just what the compressed signal is if you want to. All right, so let's give that a whirl. So you can hear that is really extreme. That's really crushing it. So if you want to go that extreme, you might only have a slight amount present. It's soloed right now, so we can't hear very much of it. So there, you can hear that again, what that is doing. It's really adding a nice amount of parallel compression, and you can see it's very simple, very easy to use. I'll just solo it with just the drums here. All right, so you can see all very similar effects. They all sound pretty similar. My personal favorite is this iHeartNY plugin. So that's what I really like to use, and you can find a link to that in the description below if you want to check that out yourself. But as you can see, you don't need to go and buy anything extra. You can use just whatever you have. You can definitely, no matter what DAW you have, send an auxiliary track to create parallel compression on your tracks, and this will really help your drums to punch and stand out. And it also would recommend experimenting with it on other groups of tracks as well, especially vocals if you're wanting those to stand out, or lead elements. So that's it for today. Let me know what other questions you have about mixing in the comments below. And if you're wanting to finish more tracks faster, then be sure to grab my mixing checklist also in the description below. And this will give you a handy step-by-step formula for mixing your tracks so you can get more songs done faster. All right, have a great day and adventure on.